Being an author opens the doors to a lot of new experiences. I've been a radiologist for 40 years. I know how to do that. But what do authors do? Well, they do events like these, of course, when they come up. I also attended a book festival in Miami recently where I was on a discussion panel, and there were several of us authors seated in front of a small audience, along with April, the moderator. So tell us about your book, she said, starting out. And since I wasn't going first, I decided to just sit back and relax and listen to the other authors. So they were all amazing people, and they had really interesting stories. The author that went right before me was Becky Savage, who also is a O'Leary published author. And she told the story of her book, One Choice. And she had lost 2 of her teenage sons to accidental overdose in the same night. And somehow she found the courage to tell the story. There wasn't a dry eye in the house, including mine, and I already knew the story. It was powerful. I was spellbound. And as she was finishing up, a voice in my head brought me back to reality. It said, "You better think of something to say because you're next." And I said, "Are you kidding me?" I thought to myself. I mean, how do I follow that? And before I knew it, the mic was in my hand. My book is about finding the deeper meaning in everyday life, I said. I think that's what I said. And then I mumbled something about us all being interconnected, the shared human experience, blah, 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 whatever, honestly is what it sounded to me. That's how I remember it. It sounded shallow to me, and I'm the one who wrote the book. I'm sure in reality it came across a lot better than it seemed like in my head. But at the time, I just wanted it all to be over. Looking back, I realized why I had been in such a panic. I had been comparing my book to someone else's. And as my mom used to say, nothing good ever comes from that. Every book is a unique reflection of the heart and soul of the person who wrote it. And that's a sacred thing no matter what the words on the page say. So I owe Becky, I don't think she's here this evening, but I owe her a thank you for being part of teaching a lesson to a new author. But I hope she's okay if I don't sit by her at the next event. And Diana, I may not be following you at the next This was not planned. I just have to figure out why this keeps happening. The experience also made me realize that not only do I not have an elevator speech for my book, but the book isn't conducive to one. Each poem starts out with a normal everyday event, which by definition isn't special because it happens every day. It's the journey, or it's finding the deeper meaning in that everyday event. That's the journey and the adventure. And that takes a little bit of time. If you try to get there in a quick elevator ride, you miss it. So for this book, you have to take the stairs. So with that in mind, I invite you to take a leisurely journey down the stairs with me this evening as I read you one of my poems. The setting is Cernusco, Italy. It's a small town just outside of Milan where my daughter lives with her Italian husband and 2 of my granddaughters. It was my first visit post-COVID, and it had been the longest time I had ever gone without seeing them, and I missed them. One afternoon, the girls and I decided we were up for an adventure, so we decided to go into town for some ice cream, just the 3 of us. They're beautiful souls, the girls, bilingual, bicultural, warm, funny, smart. Any time I spend with them is a joy, and that day would be no different. The following are my reflections of our afternoon together. It's called Precious Moments. I watch the moments go by fleetingly, one after another, and then they're gone. They pass in front of my eyes before I can reach out to grab hold of them. Gone before I can even grasp their significance. A walk with the grandkids to buy ice cream, a silly game made up on the spur of the moment, uncontrolled childish laughter over I can't remember what, only that it was shared with me. Yes, this is the important thing. It was shared with me. What will the grandkids remember when they think of me years down the road? Will it be any of the sweet memories I'm making with them now, or some other random things I can only guess at? I remember my own grandfather, whom I adored in so many ways. Was he aware he was planting memories that would remain in my heart long after he had passed from the scene? At the time, I just loved being with him. He was caring, funny, safe, and seemed to genuinely enjoy my presence. If there are any other requirements for a wonderful grandfather, I don't know of them. And yes, I think he did know, even at the time. The passing years have a way of giving us perspective that is impossible to have as a child. When we're a child, our only job is, well, to be a child. It's the adult's job to think of all the other stuff. And if we're in touch with how life actually works, part of that job is to realize how fleeting it all is and enjoy it the best we can while we're actually living it. Yes, this is of prime importance because it all goes by so very, very fast. Time spent with family, especially the little ones, allows me indirect influence on a future I will never see. And long term, what could be more meaningful than that? To the untrained eye, it may look like a silly game or a walk to the store or playfully helping with Italian homework when I don't even speak Italian. But none of that is the point. It's what I plant in their heart that matters. As my own grandfather taught me so very long ago without ever having uttered the words. Being around children is a joy. Their innocence is disarming, and the requirements to be accepted are so minimal. You just have to meet them on their level, be willing to give of your time, and genuinely care. That's the easy part. The hard part is watching the present become the past so quickly it makes your head spin without the power to do anything about it. Oh, I'm sure on a cosmic level it all makes sense. If I had the power to pause these precious moments and hold on to them, I'm sure they'd be diminished somehow, though it doesn't stop me from wishing I could. The only antidote, it seems, is to enjoy them as they're happening, appreciate the memories which I get to keep, and continue making more. Which means that tomorrow there will be more laughter and more silly games and who knows what else. It's the not knowing that adds to the adventure of it all. What will they remember of it years down the road? Who knows? That's not for me to say. I only know that spending meaningful time with them now gives me a chance to be a part of their treasure chest of memories that they will accumulate over their lifetime. And if that's not time well spent, I don't know what is. Moments, as it turns out, are all we have. And at the end of the day, all we have to give. So make each one count is my advice, in any circumstance, certainly. But if you have any to spend on the little ones in your life, don't hold back. Because in the long run, those moments will be the most beautiful and long-lasting of all.